By now, you have all heard about the nationwide protests over the NEET paper leak.
On July 20th, a march driven largely by Gen Z protesters erupted.
For the first time, the BJP is facing intense public pressure over an issue that should never have been allowed to happen, because this is not just an examination. For millions of young students, it's years of hard work, sleepless nights, and countless sacrifices, all thrown into doubt because the system failed to conduct the exam fairly, not only once but several times over the last decade.
6 घंटा आगे पढ़ो, फिर घर पे जाके पूरे रात जाग कर पढ़ो और उसके बाद से फिर एग्ज़ाम कैंसिल हो जाता है, हमें री एग्ज़ाम देना पड़ता है, बहुत ज़्यादा हमें प्रॉब्लम होता है, बैकलॉग्स है, उसे कंप्लीट करना है.
We have been calling these the NEET protest, but this doesn't capture the scale of the problem we are dealing with right now. This is not just about one examination. Over the last 10 years, more than 150 exam paper leaks have been reported all across the country. Yet, hardly anyone has been held accountable. I cannot believe this, but can you believe this? While those responsible walk away, thousands of students continue to lose their most valuable asset. Not money, it's time. And with it, opportunities that can save their entire future is also vanished. This highlights some basic but non-deniable questions that we should be questioning ourselves. If this problem has existed for the last 10 years, why didn't the government, which is the BJP right now, do anything to solve it? Why have exam paper leaks become so frequent? Who is responsible for these leaks? And most importantly, can they be stopped? To understand why exam leaks happen so frequently, it's crucial to understand how these exams are actually conducted. Well, you see, when we look at the examination process from a distance, we usually think that the government manages everything, from preparing the question papers to conducting the exams at the centers. But that's not actually the case. Most of this process is outsourced to private companies through a system called the L1 vendor system. Now, L1 actually stands for the lowest bid. In simple terms, any company with an annual turnover of around 20 lakh rupees and some decent experience in printing and security is eligible to bid for the contract. The company that offers the lowest bid, as per L1, gets the responsibility of printing the question papers, transporting them, and even managing parts of the examination process. The loophole is just there. Think about it for a moment. If you wanted to bid for this contract, the first thing you would do is calculate all of your costs, decide how much profit you want to make, and then arrive at a price below which you simply could not afford to bid. But when the bidding starts, you notice that some companies are quoting prices much lower than yours. Naturally, one question comes to mind. How are they able to bid at such a low price? The answer actually can surprise you. To cut costs, many companies rely on temporary, low-paid contractual workers instead of permanent, trained security personnel. It helps them reduce expenses and definitely win the contract easily. But students, in doing so, they also create the biggest vulnerability in the entire examination system. And that is exactly where most of exam paper leaks begin. How? Well, if you haven't here yet, the L1 system certainly lowers the cost for the government. But on the other end, it also replaces premium bidders. Companies that can afford permanent, well-trained security personnel, armored GPS-tracked vehicles with digital locks, and highly secured examination centers. With companies that are forced to cut costs, where do they usually cut those costs? They hire low-paid contractual security personnel, they use rented vehicles with basic security arrangements, and sometimes they even choose schools with limited security infrastructure as examination centers. Thus, one of the most valuable assets in the entire examination process, the question paper, passes through a system where the people handling it are often paid just rupees 12,000 to 15,000 rupees a month, that too on a short-term contracts. Now think about it for a moment. If somebody is offered rupees 20 to 30 lakh just for taking a photograph of a question paper, the temptation becomes enormous. That is exactly why lowering costs without maintaining equally strong security standards can create serious vulnerabilities in the examination system. This is how the L1 system, which was originally designed to reduce government spending, ends up creating an environment where the exam mafia can thrive. An ecosystem that stretches from coaching institutes to a few corrupt officials involved in the process. But if it is so obvious that the L1 system creates these vulnerabilities, then why doesn't the government simply get rid of it? The answer lies in the law, which is called the General Financial Rules or GFR 2017, which legally requires the government to procure goods and services through the lowest bidding process. Now, you might actually say, but the government makes the laws, isn't it? If it wants to change them, why doesn't it? I also wish the same, but this is one of the harsh realities of our country. Because if the government scraps the L1 system and starts directly hiring permanent security personnel, buying special vehicles, and building the infra required to conduct examinations, the cost of conducting every major examination would increase significantly, much more higher than what they are paying right now. More importantly, every new permanent government post would come with a much higher long-term financial burden and than the government currently bears under the outsourcing model. Let me ask you once more, why is that so critical? Sadly, just because of our obsession with the government jobs. The demand for permanent government jobs is so high that every additional post becomes a major financial and a political decision. This is the paradox the government finds itself in every examination, every cycle. But let me make it very clear. This also doesn't mean that the government is free from responsibility. Maintaining a fair and a secure examination system is ultimately the government's job. If the current system creates vulnerabilities, then it's the government's responsibility to strengthen it, improve it, or replace it with something better. Because until the government stops treating the security of question papers the same way it treats the procurement of tables and chairs, exam paper leaks will continue to remain a recurring problem. And common people like you, me, and our friends will continue to suffer more and more.
To be happy, stay strong.